Welcome to Toronto Anglican Church in the beautiful city of Lake Macquarie. My name's Reverend Melanie. I'm the parish priest here at Toronto Anglican Church. It may be the 15th Sunday after Pentecost, but it's also Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all fathers, father-like figures, grandfathers and great-grandfathers on this day. We also pray for those who find this day difficult and hard. So please know that our thoughts and prayers are with you, and go gently this day. So my biblical reflection this week is on Mark 7:23 to 37, listening to the plight of women. I also like to mention that this reflection includes domestic violence and violence against women. So if you need immediate support, please call 1-800-RESPECT. And if this raises anything for you, that you're welcome to be in contact with me also. So this week, on the 7:30 report on the ABC, there was a 4-part series on why women are angry. From economic insecurity leading to a higher risk of homelessness, to the often gendered division of domestic duties within the home, to workplace sexual harassment, and to domestic violence. Why are women angry? Because their oppressed voices are not being heard, and they continue to be silenced by the privileged in society. The oppression is even greater when you add other forms of vulnerability and discrimination. Women who are Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders, women of colour, migrant women, and members of the LGBTIQA+ community. When you start adding the cross-sectional discrimination, the violence, the oppression and the silence is even greater. What is even more disturbing is after each individual segment was shared by the 7:30 report on Facebook, the commenting had to be turned off because of the backlash. The backlash when the vulnerable speak up about their experiences is the attempt to take back the power of silence. Though a small number of men were speaking out of their painful experiences and react when the voice of the woman's experience is heard because they haven't been heard also. This doesn't help because we can't listen if we're trying to drain out the other person's voice with our own pain. Then both end up unheard. But the dynamics of the causes behind violence against women play into men's experiences of not being heard also. Gender inequality doesn't just affect women, it affects men too. When men are victims of violence, either by other women or men, but especially women, their voice is silenced too. Gender inequality tells us the typical stereotypical male must be tough and the woman is weak. How is a man supposed to speak up in that environment if they are victims? Though women suffer greatly from this inequality, equality begins with breaking down the stereotypes, the discriminatory and cultural barriers. I know a man, the Son of Man, the Son of God, who broke through barriers all the time to overturn oppression and silence suffering. His name is Jesus. Though in today's gospel reading, Jesus is challenged by a Syrophoenician woman, a Gentile, trying to break through the socio-religious barrier. It was this woman's faith and her understanding that her daughter deserves liberation too that saw Jesus liberate her daughter. It is important to note that they are in Tyre, a seaport in Phoenicia, where there was a mixture of ethnicities. and where the Jews were an oppressed minority. In this context, it sounds like Jesus is testing her to see if she understands the inclusivity and the equality of the fullness of the kingdom of God. Yes, she passes with flying colours as she agrees with Jesus that the Jews are to be fed first, and she claims that even the Gentiles feed on the crumbs available to them. She shows Jesus that her daughter deserves liberation too. Over the years, this passage has been viewed negatively. We find it hard to understand why Jesus spoke so harshly to her. Yet we fail to see the fact that Jesus did engage with this woman and listen to her, letting her lead in the conversation, hearing her voice. What if it is a lesson that we are to listen to the voices of women? What if it is a lesson that we are to listen to the voices of women? That even Jesus, the Son of God, listened to the voices of women, was challenged, and let this woman challenge him, where she proved her faith. The gospel then moves on to the healing of a person with a hearing and speech impediment. Well, the fullness of the kingdom of God is of hearing Jesus' life-giving word. And when we join this with our experience, we form our speech of testimony and praise. Well, also the fullness of the kingdom of God is of hearing the oppressed trying to break through the barriers in our society today, and the breaking of the silence. That is, speaking up when sharing the experience of oppression. We all need Jesus' spittle on our tongues and his fingers in our ears. Then just maybe, we can be opened and make more progress on freeing the oppressed, and the voices that are silenced in our communities can be heard. Amen.